I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Friday, January 19th. We begin in Nunavut for a day some 10 years in the making. And yesterday, nearly a decade after negotiations began, the territory finally signed its devolution agreement with Ottawa. Known officially as the Nunavut Lands and Resources Devolution Agreement, it will transfer ownership of land resources in and around the territory from Canada to the people who live there. On hand for the signing, a number of dignitaries, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Leaders, negotiators, officials of many stripes have all worked hard for years with the same goal, for Nunavut to have increased control for decisions on their land, waters, and resources. And our government will provide funding to be there with you throughout the 3-year implementation period to come and beyond. Formal name for this process is devolution, but in many ways it's more of an evolution in our partnership as the federal government and the territory, and also an evolution in the progress towards self-determination for Inuit living in Nunavut.
Premier P.J. Agiagok said the deal is about Nunavut's most precious resource, its people, youth in particular.
Today's signing is for all the young Nunavut across our territory dreaming of a better future, imagining what others thought was impossible, and working hard to achieve what hasn't yet been tried. Our people have made many sacrifices in the name of Canadian sovereignty. In the past, too many decisions about us were made without us. With the signing of this very historic agreement, we could now bring decision-making home right here. Upinna.
Now, of course, there's a long story behind all of this. Here with the essential background, Trevor Wright.
Devolution devolves or delegates authorities normally held by the federal government down to the territorial government. While it doesn't quite make Nunavut a province, it gives the territory greater autonomy to conduct its own affairs like a province. Changes include a 50% share in resource revenues for the territory, as well as a new framework with NTI on human resources development to increase Inuit participation in government. A yet undetermined number of federal employees will be given the option to work with the Nunavut government in the same or similar devolved positions. This will include much of the federal staff housing that come with these positions, which will be given to the Nunavut government. Jobs that will remain with the federal government include entities such as the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, Coast Guard, as well as Crown corporations such as Canada Post and CBC. Compared to the NWT government, who only had 9 months for devolution in 2014, the Nunavut government will have a 3-year implementation or transition period starting April 1, 2024. The federal government will also be transferring over $82 million in one-time funding for transitional activities over the 3-year period. Trevor Wright, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
I'm Kathleen Martins, a reporter with APTN News. Homeless, houseless, shelterless people, they aren't hard to find in Winnipeg. They're on the sidewalks, in bus shelters, and down alleyways. They're living in tents and squatting in empty buildings. They're even sleeping in abandoned cars. But who are they? Hear their stories in my new 5-part podcast called Our Relatives. Listen on your favorite player.
And finally, yesterday marked day 4 of the Saskatchewan inquest into 2022's mass stabbing at James Smith Cree Nation. And among those sharing their experience, some residents of James Smith. Rachel May reports.
Retired Staff Sergeant with Melfort RCMP Darren Simons took the stand first today. At the time of the attack, Simons had only been with the Melfort detachment for around 2 months. On the day of the attacks, he recalls getting to the triage center at the band office on James Smith and seeing multiple people with stab wounds to the head, throat, and shoulders area. He spoke highly of all members of the RCMP who worked on this case. He also extends his thanks to paramedics and conservation officers. This afternoon, we heard from Vanessa Burns. Burns is the ex-common law partner of Miles Sanderson, the sole killer in the attacks. Vanessa recalls that 2 months into their relationship, Sanderson became abusive. She said the main issue in their relationship was his cheating. Vanessa and Sanderson were on the James Smith Cree Nation August 17, 2022. Vanessa was driving and messaging people on behalf of Miles to arrange the sale of cocaine. 2 days before the September 4th massacre, Burns says she and Miles were in a vehicle on James Smith Cree Nation. He was abusive, so she got out. He floored the vehicle towards her, but slammed on the brakes before he could strike her. Testimony is continuing. Rachel May, APTN National News, Melfort, Saskatchewan.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Friday, January 19th. I'm Rick Harp.